Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Billion Dollar Banker podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Perrone, and today we're going to be diving into something that most people chase their entire lives, but actually never understand, and that's happiness. Specifically, we're going to be talking about what I like to call the happiness formula. See, most people live by a lie, a quiet lie. It kind of sounds a little bit like this. Once I get this, I'll be happy. Once I close this deal, once I make the money, once I hit the title, once I buy the car, the house, meet the person, once I get there, I'll finally feel fulfilled, right? But that formula, it actually doesn't work. You know how I know? Because you've been there and so have I. You hit the goal, you achieve the thing that once felt so impossible. And the happiness lasted what? 2 days, a week, maybe a month if we're lucky. And then the high fades, right? You start looking for the next thing. And that's where I want to take you today, into the truth that no one tells you. Happiness doesn't come from having, it comes from pursuing. So saddle up. We're going to get ready to jump into this episode. We're going to call this episode the happiness formula. And we're going to talk about how we live in what most psychologists call the arrival fallacy, the belief that once we arrive somewhere, all of our problems will go away. But the brain doesn't actually work like that. When you achieve something, your dopamine spikes, then it resets. That's why lottery winners often end up depressed and Olympic athletes fall into a post gold medal slump because the journey is really where the meaning lives. And so if you're at a point in your life where you're scratching and clawing, you're trying to get to that place, remember, it's the pursuit, the building, the progress that actually is giving you the purpose. So many entrepreneurs and top producers that I've coached will tell me this. I don't even know what to do now that I've hit my goal. And that's when I actually remind them of exactly what we're talking about today, that the goal was never the reward. The growth was the reward. There's this old behavioral experiment I want to tell you guys about. It's a cat that chases a piece of cheese tied to a string. And as long as the cheese keeps moving, the cat is laser focused. It's alive. It's energized. It's literally obsessed. But the moment the cheese stops, the cat stops too. The excitement dies almost like instantly, right? If you have a cat, you've seen it. And that's us. We're all not all that far away from how these cats pursue something. We think we want the cheese, but what we really want is the chase. We love the chase. We're loving the fun of going after that cheese. It's why entrepreneurs keep starting businesses. It's why athletes retire and then unretire. It's why high performance can't sit still on the beach for more than 2 days without thinking about what's next. We're wired for stillness. We're not wired for stillness. I apologize. We're wired for pursuit, right? We're wired to keep going. So if you feel restless, right? If you're craving more, that's not a flaw. That's life telling you to keep chasing that cheese. And so I want you to think of yourself as this cat that's constantly in pursuit. And when you're constantly trying to run and go after it, it might be tough, right? You might have to jump over some obstacles along the way. You might hit some challenges. You might even hurt yourself as you're trying to get it. But the fun of going after it is really where the growth comes, right? And so it comes with some pain, right? Because it's not always exciting the whole way, right? And so talking about pain is going to be an important part to understand this, right? Because this is where most people tap out, right? There are only two types of pain in life. It's the pain of growth and it's the pain of loss, right? Most of us know this by now. You don't get to avoid pain. You only get to choose which version you want to experience. The pain in growth looks like discipline. It looks like repetition, humility, losing before you win, right? And the pain in loss looks like regret or missed potential or wasted time or unfulfilled talent. So you pick your pain. It's your choice. You decide. Because either way, like I just said, we are going to feel it, right? One hurts now and pays later. The other feels easy now, but costs them everything later. And here's the frame that I live by. Pain is not the enemy of happiness. It's the price of meaning. So think about that for a second. Think back to moments that you're most proud of in your life, the business you built, the deal you closed, the body you transformed, the habit that you conquered. Every single one was born out of pain. Just think, give it a minute. I'm sure you could think of one right now. The pain of waking up early, right? The pain of failing publicly, the pain of not knowing if it would work, but doing it anyway. Pain is a teacher. It shapes you into someone capable of handling the success of what you're chasing. And so you've probably lived through something at some point that broke you, right? A partnership gone wrong, a loss, a season that's tested you in one way or another. We've all been there. But if you look back, those were also the seasons that made you. They made you. And that's why there's this whole thing about embracing failure, right? The difference between people who stay stuck and people who grow is meaning making. One says, why did this happen to me? And the other says, what is this trying to teach me? What do I need to learn? What do I need to take from this? See, the most magical people you'll ever meet are the ones who turn something terrible into fuel. That's by the way, that's why we love that story. We love the story of someone who came from nothing or this happened to them and they rose up because it's inspiring. When I lost things that I thought were permanent, I realized they weren't the end. They were just a redirection. The pain cleared space for something better to grow. And I know we can all reflect on a painful experience in our lives where that is true for you too. And that's why you can't run from pain. You actually have to extract the meaning from it. That's where the magic lives. We always talk about the magic, right? Charlie Munger and the art of inversion is really something that's very interesting. I just heard it recently on a podcast. And Charlie Munger, as most of you know, is Warren Buffett's right hand. And he once said, all I want to know is where I'm going to die so that I'll never go there. It's a classic Munger, right? He loved this like inversion. He once gave a speech that was titled, How to Guarantee a Life of Misery, a sarcastic roadmap to failure, right? And so here is the formula for failure, okay? Number one, be unreliable, be lazy, ignore learning, just forget about learning anything, envy others, just be completely envious of where everyone else is. Look at them and come up with stories in your mind as to why they're there and how they didn't do this and that. Just envy the shit out of them. Avoid responsibility, right? Nothing is your fault. It's everybody else's. Avoid responsibility completely and stay in denial. You have to stay in denial, right? When things are changing, stuff is happening, you have to just deny the truth of everything around you. And then last but not least, never, ever, ever change. Stay exactly the same. Don't change your perspective. Don't change your mindset. Don't become more open-minded. Just never change. Now, just think about this for a second, guys. That's not the success formula. That's the formula for failure, right? Pretty straightforward. Unreliability, laziness, ignorance in learning, avoiding responsibility, staying in denial, never, ever, ever changing, which, by the way, most people never do. Now, let's invert it. Let's invert it to figure out, well, what about how do I become successful, right? Be reliable, be disciplined, be a lifelong learner, celebrate other people. Don't be envious of others, but celebrate their wins, right? Take ownership. Take ownership of the things that you can control, the things you could have done differently in your life, and then face the truth. Face the truth of the realities around you, the things that are changing, the things that are growing. Grow with it, right? The last one is very simple. Adapt fast. Adapt as quick as you can. Rather than never change, adapt. Rather than staying in denial, face the truth. Rather than avoiding responsibility, take ownership. Rather than envying other people, celebrate others, right? Doesn't seem to be rocket science, but success is not complicated, right? It's painful, right? It's just painfully consistent, right? And it's not hard. The formula is obvious, but we overcomplicate it because the obvious is usually really boring, right? It's almost impossible not to win if you're consistent. But here's the problem. Consistency is just boring. It's just really boring. It's unsexy. It's doing the same thing day after day when nobody's clapping, nobody's in your corner, nobody's watching you, right? It's just doing it anyway. It's sending the follow-up email. It's making the cold call. It's practicing the presentation again. People chase passion, but passion fades. Discipline doesn't, right? Passion's going to get you started, and discipline's what's going to keep you in the game. If you ever wonder why you're stuck, right? Ever wonder, look at where you stopped being consistent. Look at where you stopped, staying on the diet, eating good, going to the gym. And consistency, it doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean doing it exactly 100% every single time, right? It means the commitment of trying to achieve that consistency as much as you possibly can. You can fail 10 times out of 12 months and still outperform someone who quits after a month or two, right? So consistency, it's going to compound. It builds identity. And over time, it becomes momentum. The most powerful force in business that there is momentum and consistency. And if I had to pick one muscle that separates the dreamers from the doers, it's planning. It's not just waking up and figuring it out. But most people, they think they're bad at execution, but really what they're bad at is preparation. They react instead of creating. And success, while it can be boring because it's systematic, the top performers aren't just lucky, right? They've just built habits that eliminate guesswork. Planning is how you can turn chaos into clarity. It's how you can really change. It's where the creativity can meet the consistency. It's how you stop living on adrenaline and start living in rhythm or in flow. And recognizing that that flow is going to change a little bit, but that you're going to try to manage it at a certain level as much as you possibly can, right? Planning is how you're going to turn chaos into clarity and how your creativity is going to be able to unleash. Because the boring work, right? The testing, the tracking, the preparing, the tweaking, right? That's where greatness really lives. I hate to break it to you, but it doesn't sound like very fun, but it is what it is. Anyone can work hard once in a while, guys. But the pros, they work smart every single day, right? Every single day. B.F. Skinner, I don't know if you've heard of B.F. Skinner, but once he said, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? He said, that's not true. He said, dehydrate that horse, right? Put a little salt on its tongue, put it about an inch away from the water, and I guarantee you it will drink. Think of yourself as this horse, right? Think about your environment. When you're uncomfortable, you don't drink, you don't grow, you don't act. Your comfort is the silent killer of your drive, right? Like you've already drank tons of water. Why would you drink more water? If I lead you to the water, you're not even thirsty. The question becomes, how do you dehydrate yourself, right? How do you get so thirsty that you have to go after that water? You have to drink it. You have to change your environment. You have to change your standards. You change who you compare yourself to. If everyone around you is doing the bare minimum, you're thinking you're crushing it, right? But put yourself around people who are operating at 10x your level, and suddenly you feel parched, right? You're like, I'm so thirsty, right? You want more. That's dehydration. That's drive. That's what forces you to drink the water. You want to change your life. Start by changing your environment. You've heard it a million times, but have you done it? Because the right environment, it's going to force the right behaviors. So here's the formula. It's simple, but it's profound. Happiness equals progress, not perfection, not a rival. I've made it, right? The top of the mountain. I'm here. Now I don't have to do anything. I'm here, right? It's just forward motion because progress gives us meaning. Meaning gives us energy, and energy fuels everything that we do every day. That's what fuels us. You don't have to be there yet to be happy. You just have to be becoming, right? In pursuit. The pursuit itself is what lights up your soul, not the prize. So if you're in the middle of pursuing something and you're feeling like, man, this is hard, or this is getting difficult, or you're doubting your decisions, remember, these are the happy moments right here. The pursuit itself is what needs to light up your soul. It's not the prize. I promise you, it's not the prize. The moment you stop pursuing, the moment you stop growing, that's when you start dying on the inside. So guys, stay hungry, stay chasing, keep the cheese moving. Don't let that cheese stay still because you're going to get bored. And if you're listening to this right now, I thought I'd be happier by now too, right? I want you to hear this. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Exactly. In pursuit. Hopefully, like many of the rest of us, like I'm here in pursuit of sharing my message and building my journey and understanding that this is a part of it. That's where the joy actually lives. Don't curse the process, respect it. Don't fear the pain, study it. Don't wait to arrive, fall in love with the journey. Because one day, guys, you're going to look back and you're going to realize this was the happiest time of your life right now in pursuit. not because everything was perfect, but because you were becoming, because you were in pursuit. And if today's episode hit you, I would love for you to share this with someone who's chasing their next level in life. Tag me, message me, tell me what part spoke to you the most. I would love to hear from you guys. And remember, happiness is not something that you find after success, right? Remember this. It's what you create while you're building it. Gosh, such a good reminder for all of us. Guys, I'm Nicole Perrone. This is the Billion Dollar Banker podcast. Stay in pursuit, stay consistent, and keep chasing that cheese. Keep moving it around. Subscribe, turn on notifications so you can get more messages like this. And I hope to see you guys again soon.